Now at 5 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the mother of Lisbeth Medina speaks out after a court date is set for Lisbeth's accused murderer. And we continue following the outrage after a report into the Uvalde school shooting response that was released Thursday. Plus, a jury comes to a decision in the manslaughter trial of two former Williamson County Sheriff's deputies, their choice this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. We finally got a lot of sunshine. Everything cleared out because the north wind blew in, and all of a sudden, we're looking at a pretty good looking weekend. Temperatures will be even cooler. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
We go over the highlights of President Biden's State of the Union address, this as he heads to Philadelphia to take his speech on the campaign trail. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Lisbeth Medina's mother, Jacqueline Medina, says she wants the world to know Lisbeth's story and that she is going to fight. Rafael Romero, the accused murderer of Lisbeth Medina, has a court date of April 4th in Jackson County. Romero did not officially enter a plea on Thursday. As of right now, his trial is set for October. Jacqueline Medina told KC she knows her daughter is still with her as she fights to defend her legacy. In Wharton 1 month ago, police arrested Waynard Austin on 7 felony warrants. Shortly after, Austin escaped from custody in handcuffs. Austin remains at large, last seen wearing a black hoodie, blue jeans, and white shoes. If you see him, contact 911. Wharton police say Austin is not a threat to public safety. Now, a suspect from North Carolina was arrested in Wharton Friday. 37-year-old Angelica Ramos of North Carolina faces 5 charges, including engaging in organized criminal activity and abandoning or endangering a child. She is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $65,000 bond. Bay City police want information on this man. It's 22-year-old Joel Lopez of Bay City. He is wanted for his reported involvement in a recent shooting in Bay City. When Lopez was arrested, Lopez faces a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Authorities say this suspect should be considered armed and dangerous. Contact local law enforcement if you know the whereabouts of this man. Back in Victoria County, a federal judge in Victoria has upheld the use of an immigration program that allows up to 30,000 migrants from 4 countries into the U.S. per month. The ruling Friday came in response to a lawsuit from states that argued the humanitarian parole program, quote, created a shadow immigration system, unquote. Advocates for the federal government countered that migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who are admitted through this policy help the U.S. farm labor shortage and reduce the number of people coming here illegally. One of the biggest employers in the Crossroads may be getting a new water source. The Texas Tribune reports Texas regulators last month approved a new 2,500-acre reservoir for Gulf Coast industries. The Lavaca Navidad River Authority is now allowed to divert up to 31 billion gallons per year from the Lavaca River. It would go into a reservoir proposed on property Formosa Plastic owns. That property is about 2 miles east of its Massive Point Comfort Chemical Complex. Formosa Plastics turns Texas gas into materials for common single-use plastics. And taking a quick pause on the news, let's head to your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, it feels like summer out there.
Yes, today it was quite warm, but tomorrow I think you're going to enjoy, Karina, and so will you. What happened this morning, we had the dry line come in. All of a sudden, our winds are now out of the north. It was warm. It's not wasn't your imagination. Got up to 86, but by tomorrow, we're only going to be looking at about 68 to 70 degrees because of that north wind. So we'll have more details on your weekend forecast, and we'll try and see if who got any rain over this last system. All that coming up in just a moment. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. Yesterday was the day many families in Uvalde have waited for nearly 2 years. The independent investigation into the Robb Elementary mass shooting was released, and in it, all local police officers were cleared of any wrongdoing.
Had Lieutenant Pargas remained with the Uvalde Police Department, it would be my recommendation, my team's recommendation, to exonerate Lieutenant Pargas.
15 law enforcement officers, mostly Uvalde police, are listed in investigator Jesse Prado's independent review of the Robb Elementary shooting. He recommends all 15 be exonerated of any violation of department policy. Instead, Prado says the chaos outside the school as families tried to get to their children contributed to the failures that day.
The ones that we're trying to get set up with the command posts were having issues with the crowd control because they had to make sure that nobody else in the crowd was injured.
Soon after Prado's deposition-style question and answer with the city attorney finished, chaos broke out as Prado left without hearing from families.
No, I don't want to hear an explanation. I want him back. I don't want to hear an explanation. I want him back.
It's my birthday today. Love you.
Her birthday was a few days before the shooting happened.
When he did hear from them, he had nothing to say.
You, as an officer who's trained in active shooter training, would you have gone in that classroom, or would you have done what those officers did?
Sir, why won't you answer?
Several city council members spoke out about the report, calling it an embarrassment, and apologized to the families.
But I assure you, this is not what we wanted, and this did not happen how we thought it would happen. I usually a pretty good talker, and I'm very, very upset.
Families who met with several city officials tell us this report will be discussed at Tuesday's regular city council meeting.
He's in the class.
We're told that possible disciplinary action could be taken against some UPD officers at that time. In Uvalde, Lee Waldman, KSAT 12 News.
In Williamson County, 2 former sheriff deputies accused of manslaughter in the death of a man in custody were found not guilty. James Johnson and Zach Camden's charges come from an incident in 2019 when Johnson tried to pull over Javier Ambler, resulting in a police chase that ended in a crash. The deputies were accused of acting recklessly by using tasers, even though Ambler told them he had a heart condition and could not breathe. After the verdict, the DA said in a statement, "Our hearts continue to break for the family of Javier Ambler. We hoped that the outcome of this trial would bring justice and closure to the family." Today, President Biden is taking his State of the Union speech on the road. His first stop, Philadelphia. Last night, the president had set his plan for the future of the country, with Democrats and Republicans voicing their reactions.
This morning, Democratic congressional leadership on President Biden's State of the Union.
Smoking Joe Biden was on fire during the State of the Union address. He was lit.
Biden starting his speech last night with a direct message to Russian President Vladimir Putin over his invasion of Ukraine.
We will not walk away.
Biden setting his sights on November in his expected rematch with former President Trump. Biden not mentioning Trump by name, instead saying my predecessor at least a dozen times.
My predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
The president joking about his own age, calling out the Supreme Court over its ruling on Roe v. Wade, and taking on Republican lawmakers for stalling the border security bill.
Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill?
The president facing outbursts in the audience from Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene and silent demonstrations from his fellow Democrats over Israel's war with Hamas. The president announcing an emergency military mission to build a temporary port in Gaza, bringing humanitarian aid to those caught in the crossfire of war.
No U.S. boots will be on the ground.
Last night, Alabama Senator Katie Britt delivering the Republican rebuttal.
The true, unvarnished state of our union begins and ends with this. Our families are hurting.
Both Biden and Trump will be on the campaign trail tomorrow, launching us into the race for the White House. Both men will be in Georgia, one of the closest races 4 years ago, with Biden winning that state by only 12,000 votes. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
More information on the big changes coming to the Republican National Committee. The RNC chairwoman's decision comes after more than a month, or rather a year, of rising tensions between former President Donald Trump and the RNC. She won re-election to a 4th term in January. North Carolina GOP Chairman Michael Whatley and the former president's daughter-in-law will serve as the organization's new chair and co-chair.
I know how important this role is, and it is truly an honor to be here to work alongside all of you over the next 241 days. That's right, we're keeping track. Because we know what the goal is at the end. We have one goal. The goal on November 5th is to win. And as my father-in-law says, big league. We're going to win on November 5th.
The 2024 Republican National Convention will be held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, starting on July 15th. A United Airlines jet rolled off the runway and onto the grass after landing at a Houston airport today. The plane landed at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport and was turning onto a taxiway when it happened. All 160 passengers and 6 crew members were not hurt. The Federal Aviation Administration will investigate. Neither United nor the FAA reported what exactly caused the incident. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Trouble continues in Haiti. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the growing number of those displaced due to gang violence. Also ahead, UFO detection kits are currently in development by the U.S. military. Here's a look at Community Crossroads this weekend. We revisit Safe Streets, Safe Pets, a 25 News Now extra. We also sit down with Adopt a Pet of Victoria, Pet Adoptions of Cuero, and give you guys a sneak peek of the St. Joseph Theater performance of Mean Girls.
I can be who I wanna be and sexy. I can be who I wanna be and hot. Be somebody new.
The Japanese artist who created the enormously popular and influential Dragon Ball series has died of a brain condition. He passed away last week at age 68. He was the mind behind the fantasy martial arts franchise featuring Son Goku. The Dragon Ball universe remains one of Japan's most successful global hits. It's captivated the hearts of many teens and adults from around the world since its debut in the 1980s. Chaos continues in Haiti's capital. There was a breach at the Caribbean Port Services Terminal, which is crucial for importing food to the island. This is happening as violence in the country escalates, with the government extending its state of emergency. Tens of thousands of people have fled their homes in the past few days, adding to the more than 300,000 already displaced by gang violence. The European Union hopes to launch an emergency maritime corridor from Cyprus to Gaza this weekend. The announcement was made by the EU Commission president. The EU Commission says that innocent Palestinian families and children are desperate for basic necessities in the region. Israel's foreign ministry spokesperson welcomes the plan on social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter. This comes after President Biden said that the U.S. military will build a port to help deliver aid into the territory.
Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
Numerous partners are joining this project, including Germany, Greece, Italy, the Netherlands, among other countries. On Sunday, don't forget to spring forward, but that 1 hour can disrupt your entire day. Research has linked the time change to a rise in heart attacks, strokes, and even car accidents.
Here comes the sun. Starting Sunday, March 10th at 2 a.m., spring your clock forward an hour, but don't let the time change stop you from getting those Z's.
Most of us do not get enough sleep, and even a 1 hour of sleep loss can be devastating.
Dr. Nancy Foldberry-Schaefer with Cleveland Clinic Sleep Disorder Center says most adults should be getting between 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep each night, but many already struggle with chronic sleep deprivation, and it can hurt their health.
These kinds of sleep deficiencies can lead to diabetes and obesity, metabolic disorders, as well as brain health.
Prepare now for the time change by going to bed 15 minutes early each night leading up to it. Next, get some light exposure when you wake.
In the morning, light is very stimulating. It's wake promoting. It enhances mood and physical activity.
Finally, avoid things that can take a toll on sleep. That includes caffeine and alcohol in the afternoon and evening. Add in things that promote sleepiness, like exercise earlier in the day. And if you're having significant sleep problems, reach out for help.
I would say after a few months of sleep disturbance, or if there's a significant sleep disturbance, even sooner, talk to your doctor.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. military is developing portable UFO detection kits to collect better data on reports of sightings. The sensor and detection system is called Gremlin. Authorities will send them to sites with reports of unidentified objects. Federal authorities get an average of 100 new cases each month and clear roughly the same number. The UFO detection kits are currently being tested at a range somewhere in Texas. Despite this, the Pentagon has said there is no evidence of extraterrestrial technology or alien life.
Okay, it's got to be interesting. Well, folks, we got up to 86 degrees today, but don't despair. We've got better news as we get to the weekend. Your low of 72, your high average should be about 73, but we're going to be closer to the average time at this time of year coming up beginning tomorrow. So that north wind blew in and things are going to be changing. We'll have all your weekend weather details coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, lots of sun and rather warm temperatures today, but Here's the headline: cooler weekend. That sounds good. Breezy on Saturday because that north wind is going to start kicking in, and the only rain chance we're going to get is not for another 5 to 7 days. So did we get anything here? We got a few little spots. As a matter of fact, here we are. You see all the green? That's probably about 1/10 of an inch. But the heaviest activity looked like it went from Hallettsville to Gonzales all the way to possibly Lavernia out there. So somebody got a little bit of rain. We didn't get a whole lot in the city nor south, but at least somebody got something. Because after that, we have the next Thursday as an opportunity for rain. And I'm trying to get something going here because, once spring is over and we get into the summer, boy, it's going to be a long, hot summer that we're going to have to deal with. Temperatures right now across the state and our area, you can see very clearly where the cooler air is located, right about there. Now, so we did get a dry line that came through. That's the northwest wind, but the cooler air is going to be coming in overnight. And so by tomorrow, you'll see you're going to go, okay, that's much nicer 70-degree temperatures over the weekend. We are looking, of course, at that north wind that came in this morning. And, of course, our rain chance pretty much gone. Now, while we do expect lots of sun, there will be sort of a mix of clouds. But all of this is high cloud cover coming in from the west, and it's pretty high up. So it's not going to be a dreary weekend. It still will be a good sunshine weekend. And as we get to Sunday, slowly but surely the winds will turn back around. And by Monday, we'll start picking up some more of that Gulf moisture. So by and large, I think you got a great looking weekend coming up. These are the forecast highs around the state. As you can see, 65, 72. Sounds good, right? That's a whole lot better than 86 or 90, which is what we had earlier this week. And even North Texas will be a little bit cooler than we have been for a while. Here's the cooler air. It's just to the north of us with that little front. The storm system is pulling away, and now high pressure is going to build over us. It's going to give us a pretty good couple of days, but it doesn't last forever. It does last until maybe Wednesday, but then the south wind kicks in, gets a little bit stronger as we start waiting for the next northwest storm. That northwest storm right now looks like it won't get here until about Thursday of next week, and it's looking like it might give us some rain. Let's keep our fingers crossed. We sure could use a little bit more. So let's take a look at the marine forecast. By the way, this is going to be really good to go fishing, but you got to know that the wind is out of the north. Okay, so there's your high tide, there's your low tide in the morning, and gusty northwest winds will make it a little blustery when you're casting out. Otherwise, we're looking at waves 2 to 5 feet, and bays will be on the choppy side. Obviously, that was the Gulf. And for those of you in Port Lavaca, we start off cloudy in the morning, but that's going to burn off, and I'm going to call this partly cloudy. I'll tell you why. Because these are high-level clouds sort of drifting over us, so it's not really that dark and ugly stuff, but get a load of the temperatures getting down to 67. That's not bad. And in Cuero, you start off with a little cloud in the morning, but most of the day will be good in the partly cloudy side, getting up to about 65 as a high temperature. That's not bad at all. Just remember that Saturday night, you spring forward. Sunday's looking good, and we're okay all the way through about Thursday of next week. That is your 7-day forecast. Thanks for joining us. Here's your QR code. Go ahead and scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your cell top phone. That's it for now. We'll toss it back to Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks. Plus, the U.S. labor market continues to beat economist expectations. The number of jobs added up next. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 69 points, the S&P 500 down 34 points, and the Nasdaq down 188 points. Oil down 92 cents, closing at $78.01 a barrel. The U.S. labor market is holding strong and steady. In its latest report, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said the economy added 275,000 jobs just last month. The unemployment rate grew as well, rising from 3.7% to 3.9%. This is the 25th consecutive month the nation's jobless rate has been below 4%. As for wages, the average hourly earnings inched up 0.1% from December. That's slower than economists' expectations. President Biden also used his State of the Union address to urge Congress to pass a mortgage relief tax credit. The credit would provide up to $10,000 for first-time buyers and people selling starter homes. For renters, Biden says federal agencies are cracking down on antitrust law violations aimed at inflating prices. One senator acknowledged homeowner struggles in the Republican response to the State of the Union. She argued Biden's spending is why the cost of living is so high. Stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, a mythical intruder finds itself in the enclosure of 2 snow leopards. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Reactions to the President's State of the Union address. So how do most Americans see the future? Plus, getting aid inside Gaza. Will the new plan work? More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
Predict the awards for the Oscars today. To vote, come to crossroadstoday.com/predict to enter that giveaway. The top 3 winners will receive a $50 gift card to Dick's Food Store. Now, for Best Leading Actress, you can vote for Annette Bening in Nyad, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, or Emma Stone in Poor Things. The Oscars pre-show is right here on KVUE TV Sunday at 5:30, and the Oscars start at 6 p.m. Now, no one likes intruders, not even when they are fake. Staff in the Cincinnati Zoo placed a papier-mâché jetty in the snow leopard's habitat, and the animals didn't know what to think. They curiously checked out the creature. One of them almost ripped off a leg. This was part of an enrichment activity for physical and mental stimulation. That is kind of creepy, though.
Yeah, it's creepy when the leopard just shreds it. You know, that's what I'm thinking it's going to happen.
I think it's almost like they're a natural response.
Well, of course it is. It's hey, you don't belong here. You're getting out. Look, I'm going to tear you apart now.
The Cincinnati Zoo. Well, this weather.
The Yeti better start running, I think.
Yeah, no Yetis in our weather, though.
No Yetis for us. In fact, we're looking pretty good. The Yeti would melt today. I mean, we got up to 86. Tomorrow, hard to believe, but we're going to drop. Overnight, we're going to pick up a cool north wind, and our high temperature tomorrow about 65, 66, upper 60s for both Saturday and Sunday. So that sounds pretty good to me. Now, the rest of the week, next 7 days, looks a little bit better, but our next rain chance is not till Thursday of next week.
All righty. Well, thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.